I write my fiction for the evening news. The facts don't make the story. It's what my bosses choose. Did you ever think the truth would lose? Read my scripted views. Need an idea advanced? Got an army to treat cruel? Don't worry, baby. I'll fix your sinner soon. Just point me to the highest bidder. Turn us on and watch me. Lying in the morning, lying next to noon. You're trained to hear the TV, accept it all as true. We know you love our twisted views. Watch our fiction at noon. Station after station, when the night hour is near, the lights go up, the actors appear. Different theme songs ring, the same in your ears. It's time for scripted view. It's all the rage in Europe. You better follow suit. Someone blew up a church. A pariah's name is Prue. A pariah, he must be guilty. Go ahead and write the script for you, for the scripted news. Scripted news is the way to peace. The scripted news is peace of mind. I see what you mean now. No need to cry or bother feeling appalled. Half of our stories never happened at all. It's just interesting when people lie. See our scripted view. A sultry bleached blonde, the screen to adorn. She was once an actress in deviant porn. We let her tongue cut men to the core. She gives twisted views. A sugar coat and then more lies yet. Sometimes her victims play hard to get. She'll kill you if you second guess. Need more scripted views. Lying next to noon, you're trained to hear the TV, accept it as all true. Love our twisted views, watch our fiction anew. Go back to sleep, pretend we didn't talk. You breathe a word, I'll outline you in chalk. You have no idea how much we hate you. Leave me, don't stalk. Said I'll see you in the next scripted news.
Hello, everyone. That is Zeph Daniel with a song I can never get enough of, Fake News. This is Porthole to Justice, the window to the truth, and I am your host, Amelia Duran. Oh my gosh. I have been under the weather, so I am back. I took a little spaghettical, but so much going on. You know, I had posted on Facebook that well, 20 on 20 on the Zeph report, I had prayed that God would pour out his blessings on all of the people. I don't know if some of you recall or tuned in, and boy, oh boy, is he pouring out blessings in Texas for sure. And, all of this, the news and the media, really promoting the race stuff here in America, it all got wiped out in one fell swoop with Hurricane Harvey. And everybody has come together just really miraculously in Texas. And I'm really proud of Gina Nelms. She has literally got a full-on military operation going on to help these people in Texas. And she's doing an amazing, amazing job. And I encourage everybody to go to the Social Media News Network and follow her page. And if you want to if you're looking to donate, she's advising everybody that the Red Cross is taking donations and they're selling them back to the people, and they're not distributing resources the way that they should. So she's encouraging everybody, if you want to donate and help the people in Texas, to donate to the local Salvation Army there in Texas. Also, Gina Nelms has a nonprofit, and she's filming, buying, purchasing supplies and storing them, and she's broadcasting drop-off points. She's doing an amazing job. Amazing. And if really hands-on. I mean, you can actually follow her picking up donations and getting them to the people as she distributes. And she's just, wow. So kudos to Gina Nelms. Follow her on Facebook. And, yeah, I have to laugh because the news media, I mean, we can really see they're just like melting down. They're going nuts. It's crazy. So today I have lunch with Lotus. Let's see. Let's give her a call. Let's see if she's standing by. Oh, maybe that's her. Yes, she just sent me a message. Okay, hold on. It's time. You need to give me a call. Call into the show. Okay. So it is lunch with Lotus, like every Sunday. Oh my gosh, she had me laughing so hard last night. I have not laughed that hard. I'm so lucky to have like some of the coolest friends in the world. And, there's some trolls on there saying that I'm not real, that none of my guests are real. Lotus Justice is very real. She's an oath minister of the law, registered there in Ohio. Okay, we're calling. Okay, calling you. And, then I have David, who is like off the charts smart, really intelligent, sharing and informing us all about the biologicals. And I encourage you to tune into his shows. Okay, what's going on, girlfriend? Okay. Well, we'll just keep going on down the line. Waiting for her to... Let me check something. Waiting for her to give me a call. I'm on the air now. Okay. So I'm just going to go over some of the top stories that we have going on. Wow. Oh my gosh. Okay, I don't know if you guys recall, but I think it was around December of last year, I did a series of shows about, SB 1322, and I was trying to educate everyone with my friend David about SB 1322. And that was a bill that Nancy Pelosi was really backing and promoting, and it actually passed in the state of California. It's known as the California SB Senate Bill 1322, and it decriminalized child prostitution in the state of California. And I posted a new investigative report that pretty much documents her advocacy through one of her organizations, and her donating tens of thousands of dollars on behalf of the child prostitution industry. And the question here is that she got these resources from a really shady source. There's ample evidence to suggest that she was one of a number of high-ranking Democrat officials to have placed her mark of approval on multiple donations to the Democratic Party through a nefarious enterprise. So this is an excellent piece and I posted a link to it in the Porthole to Justice. It is usabreakingnewstoday.com, and it's just a really disturbing, it's just embarrassment after embarrassment with the Democratic Party. It's one thing to be involved via donations with questionable companies, but it's quite another thing when those donations are coming from criminals. And the kind of criminal will kind of freak you out. The bill in itself is really disturbing, but according to this investigative journalist, there's ample evidence that she's one of high-ranking Democrat officials to have placed her mark of approval on this. So yeah, check out the piece. It's posted in the Port, usabreakingtoday.com. And I think I went into the bill at length with David back in December. He actually called the DA's office and went over the details of the bill just to make sure that we weren't misinterpreting some of the language in the bill. And that's back in December. I did a show with him on that. So that's a really interesting post. Then I got I got some trolls every once in a while here and there. I try to keep everything legit. I attach links to all of the cases that we profile here in the Porthole to Justice, and we've data mined so much information that I can't even imagine. Like, I'm not just throwing stuff out there and expecting people to just buy it, and then I come on the show with, some of my researchers that are assisting me with the content, and, to get it attacked or to be undermined or to cause, questions. Oh, it's my guest. It's almost laughable. It's kind of ridiculous because there's just mountains and mountains of evidence. Okay.
Hey, I tried to call a couple times. It wouldn't let me through, so I'm glad we got through.
Oh, yeah. Welcome to the Porthole to Justice, the window to the truth.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, so I was just kind of sharing with everybody about... You made me laugh so hard last night. I have not laughed, like, gut-rolling laugh like that in so long. I love it.
Well, and, it's really not funny. It's kind of that sardonic humor where it's kind of like making light of something that is so in the face, repugnant, and abhorrent, and it has to be funny because that's the only thing you can do other than cry,
Yeah, sometimes we have to just, like, cut it up. Otherwise, it's just too heavy for me, And I agree with that. And I personally, thankfully, I find
great joy in.
What happened? Hey, I got cut off. Hi, we got cut off just a little bit there.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, they're playing with my Bluetooth. I'm being triangulated here in my location, and I get a lot of interference. My phone and my computer literally scramble as I walk in this vicinity. And so I'm being triangulated by a variety of probably observing instruments of state and not state. So just know that, whenever time we get interference, that's why. And so it's just kind of a fact of life for me. So thank you. So let me know again if we get interrupted. But, this stuff is just, we've had an evolution in the case with Clay where they've basically done a civil forfeiture of 4 more children in this family from the same custody, in the care of the same woman. And they apparently are tagging people with these private proclamations in their own little private unions that say children can be held in this house, but not this house. And so apparently there's some secret database that this county has kept on this family. And these children were seized from a dead slumber. I mean, they were asleep in their bed at 3 a.m, and the cops came in because of a circumstance between a domestic violence issue between the baby daddy and the mother, who he's not even married to her. She's actually still married to another man. I mean, it's just an obvious abuse of process, because they didn't arrest the man who was there beating on the mother, who was violating a restraining order, nor have they in the last 14 months when the restraining order was there. So the cops, in not fulfilling a restraining order issued by their own municipal judge, which I told you recused himself from the case yesterday, okay? Mm-hmm. So they haven't enforced a local order that would prevent violence from being in the property where this woman. So this woman has gone to live with her aunt. She's a wonderful woman. She's kind of like the safe house. She's the stable adult that they know that whenever any of them have trouble, they go and they stay with this woman because she is a saint. And she provides them shelter, care, and food, and helps them through their trouble. She's a Christian. She works in the church. She is a Christian woman. Mm. And they have targeted this woman and said that her house is a drug house. Not on the record. There's no proof of it. But the prosecuting attorney and CPS have promulgated this false claim and have told the police to seize any children in the house if they ever are in the house and see the children. Now, there's no foundations in law for any of these actions, okay? So they're following hearsay, but not enforcing a stay-away order, and thereby the municipal police have actually perpetuated the unsafe living conditions and the threats to the lives of the children by allowing this man to come to this property repeatedly, though there's a stay-away order. And mind you, the police department is 3 blocks away from this house. This is a little town. This isn't Chicago, guys. This is a little town. The police department is 3 blocks away from this house.
Can I interject?
Yes.
Isn't it illegal? Okay, first I want to note that yes, they do. If a drug house was previously busted, that house, no matter who moves in and out of it, will be targeted.
It's never been that. There is no evidence on the record of any type of activity of that.
Okay,
it's just
but
been declared.
Another thing what I want to point out is these secret police that have these databases, that's not supposed to be legal.
Yeah, that is totally, that's called the Gestapo. That's called fascism. That's called Nazism. Okay, so we're going to allow, and this is what I tried to explain to this, because she's a God-fearing woman, and she said, well, I let them in because I have nothing to hide, because people who are righteous don't hide in the darkness. She's a woman of the truth and the light. So she's like, well, he said he needed to come in the house, and she said, I had no belief that he would have anything to do with the kids, and then this whole conversation of, well, you're not supposed to have kids in here. He goes out without even calling, so he already had the knowledge and was told. He actually admitted that he was reprimanded for having come there on a previous call when he should have arrested this man. He didn't arrest the man But he was reprimanded when he went back to the police station and filed his report because he didn't seize the children that time. He wasn't reprimanded for not arresting the man in violation of the municipal judge's stay-away order. He was reprimanded within his police unit for not seizing the children. This is his conversation with her on a Saturday night at 3 in the morning. That the reason he walks out of the house after seeing the children is because he got in trouble for not seizing them and calling the CPS the last time he was there, and he should have arrested the man at that time. And again, he still didn't do it then. So it has nothing to do with the circumstances between the mother and the father, because they're not perpetuating and protecting the parent or the mother and the babies from this man continuing to come on the property and physically assault them. The mother, who's trying to get away from him and is in a safe house of her aunt's, they don't care about the safety of the children. They're only trying to facilitate and create a circumstance where they can unlawfully seize the children. And I explained to the aunt, I said, if a cop bangs on your door at 3 in the morning and tries to steal 5 of your cars because they're on the property of a crime, supposedly, could they do that without a warrant? She said, no. I said, okay, if you're an adult and they come and bang on your door at 3 in the morning and they try to come in and arrest 6 adults who are asleep, do they have to have a warrant? She said, yes. I said, did they have a warrant for the children? See, this is what people aren't understanding. Why are the rights of children being in utter suspension where they are able to be arrested, because by definition they arrest these children without warrant or cause from a dead slumber because of hearsay lies that have no established fact in law that are being perpetuated by mouth-to-mouth ex parte conversations from these corrupt prosecuting attorneys' offices to these police departments. And these police departments aren't even doing their ends legis duties to arrest people that have stay-away orders by their own municipal judge, the judge that has now since recused himself because he wants nothing of this case. I promise you. He wants nothing. And this is the municipal judge that is only a judge on Tuesdays and Thursdays, that when CPS denied this aunt in Clay's case in April of 2016, almost a year after they should have already done this, they said, well, we're not going to, your house has been okay because it's a suspected drug activity house. Okay, suspected is not truth or fact. So they basically created this false narrative to justify having not left the child there in the first place, okay? So when she got that letter from them, she went to the acting city police chief of the day, and he says, we have no foundations for that claim. You are not under investigation. She went and talked to the police chief of her city and said, am I a drug house? He goes, absolutely not. She then goes to this municipal judge who issued the stay-away order that no one followed and who has since recused himself and said, I need to talk to you about this. And he said, you're going to need to come talk to me as a judge if this is something that I might hear and be party to as a judge in the future. So she actually went to him as counsel, and he said, I can't talk to you because I may hear this case, right? He has since, this is the guy that recused himself. So even the city municipal administrator realizes that there is corruption abound in the way that this
and it has to do, it's every county, and it has to do with these illegal databases that they're using to make allegations with absolutely no credibility or anything to substantiate these allegations. So they have a secret police. And I don't know if you've ever listened to this show that I did with Buddy Wayne Webb, but you can go to his channel on YouTube. He wants to know who these secret police are. He wants names. He wants them.
Well, I understand that. It's not so much who the secret police are. It's who are the people dictating these false narratives and these lies, which are, it's the same thing. None of these children, okay, for example, in the case, the distinction between this and every other county is in this particular case, in this particular family, we are already in 2 circuit courts, in 2 federal districts for their crimes against this first child that we don't even know if he's alive. And now they've stolen 4 other children. Okay? The same people who have complete...
And they haven't given proof of life on the first child for how long now? How long has it been?
It's going on. It'll be 30 months. It's 29 months right now. June of 2015 was the last time he was seen or heard of alive. And it was the same, and mind you, the young woman who was staying with this aunt, okay, it's almost the same scenario. We don't have all the specifics, but the father, the baby daddy who assaulted her and shouldn't have been on the property, had a stay-away order and should have been arrested for a violation of the stay-away order. He was let out of jail with a slap on the wrist, and he had spent his time, but he's being charged with felonious assault for defending herself from a man who was at a house against the order of the local municipal judge.
So this has been going on. This has been going on for like 30 months with the same.
Yeah.
Same.
And the funny thing is they just started targeting them again. And
so you come on the Porthole to Justice and you update us on the first case with Baby Clay.
Yeah. Now we've got four.
And then I don't know why. Maybe it's just my twisted humor, but I found it absolutely hilarious last night. This judge chose to recuse himself.
Not stupid. He's actually the smartest man in the bunch so far. Because guess what? I'm going to depose him because I'm going to say, you want to explain to me why your police department, since you're the municipal judge, why your police department did not enforce your orders and instead are enforcing hearsay arguments from the county prosecutor? Mm-hmm. You want to explain to me why? See, when I tell you that there are good and bad people within these instruments, and not every attorney is bad and not every cop is bad. No, most of them are stupid because they're doing things because they're ignorant of the law. Well, the law doesn't care if you're ignorant. If you're helping perpetuate kidnapping and trafficking of children because you're a cop, I'm going to tell you that your authority does not exist under the Constitution. You are not constitutional officers. You are agents of foreign powers affecting bankruptcy and finding slaves. They are slave hunters. That's what cops are, slave hunters. Mm-hmm. So if you're a cop listening to this show, I'm going to tell you, you have no constitutional authority to arrest anyone any differently than you or I, Amelia. We can arrest anybody that we see affecting a felony. It's called a citizen arrest. We cannot arrest someone on a misdemeanor. Neither can cops. Their power to arrest is afforded to anybody in our republic who sees a felony being affected.
Yet routinely what we're seeing is police officers arresting people for misdemeanors for something they should just be getting a citation for, or or inciting, and using the excuse that they're resisting arrest when clearly that's not what we're witnessing.
I went to prison for a year for resisting arrest on a charge that didn't exist. Yeah. I got charged with felonious assault of a cop who was effecting an unlawful arrest in a court. I was arrested in a court during session. That's a crime. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
I was arrested in court while talking to the judge for failure to appear. Who in their right mind doesn't see that as a crime? Because they didn't like what I was saying.
I want to the perfect example occurred over the week. I think it was yesterday. There was a story that went viral of a nurse that was arrested for following hospital policy by a plainclothes police officer inside the hospital. Did you happen to see? It's a viral story on the internet. Did you happen to see it?
No, but I'm going to tell you. Well, no, but I can tell you what. And this is an interesting thing. Doctors are titles of nobility, and doctors don't even understand that they have become subjugated to esquires, who, by the way, in the king's hierarchy of titles, are lower than doctors. Okay, esquires are the lowest title of nobility on the king's hierarchy. So what just happened with that is the cop, as an agent for the local prosecuting attorney, just took on a nurse who was the agent for the local cop, for the local doctor, who are both titles of nobility. Because what you're seeing is a corruption of the racketeering. You are seeing the foundations of the coup, where secret states of men are affecting their own personal agendas in back rooms and sending out the unconstitutional army of the judiciary in cops and arresting people unlawfully, murdering people unlawfully, stealing children unlawfully, strictly for the purposes of serving the tier of their masters, which in this case is the county prosecutor prosecutor, and not even the local guy who's in charge of the municipal cops, the municipal judge. So you each actually we are even showing you that the root of the corruptions are in these county prosecutorial offices, where these attorneys in their county prosecuting, in this county, we have on the record, and we have with multiple witness, that the CPS workers, whenever they were at the aunt's house, said that her boss was the prosecuting attorney. The person reviewing this aunt in Clay's case was in front of two witnesses, said, I need to go call my boss, the prosecuting attorney. The prosecuting attorney is not supposed to be the boss of CPS, okay? They're supposed to be independent agency. The associate director of CPS said in an office between glass with a camera and two witnesses on the other side of the glass that they don't do anything without the authority and the okay of the prosecuting attorney. The prosecuting attorney's offices are controlling the RICO of the children from the county prosecutor offices. That is the root of the corruption. The seat of the county prosecutor and bar union and the collusion of the probate and county common pleas courts are where the seat of this gaming and RICO is happening in all over the country. The difference between us and all those cases is we have actually brought it to the law and are showing the law and the public record what these criminals are doing. Okay? So we're proving the corruption. It's been proven on the record in 2 states. And in the state of Indiana, the reason why they're screwed is because instead of arguing that the child has been taken unlawfully, their argument is, we don't want to hear your arguments of unlawful behavior. We just want to grant them immunity. They're more concerned about ensuring that their agents and their criminal activities are immune from prosecution than perpetuating the unlawful kidnapping and disappearance of a 3-year-old boy.
And you filed your writs in 3 different states, right, regarding this illegal conduct.
Now we get to go join 4 more children that have been kidnapped to this cause. We now have 5 children stolen from the same family, from the same household, from the same false accusations, by the same agents, under the same direction. And this woman whose house they went into is actually that she's suing these people. They're in a lawsuit with this woman. This woman's name is on a lawsuit in 2 states, and these people are so dumb they don't understand that they lack jurisdiction because of conflicts of interest. The only smart one in the bunch is the municipal judge who said, "I am done."
Himself. And I don't know why. I think, I just get delirious.
Because you're like, oh my God, a smart one. You laugh because you're like, oh my God, a smart one. He's probably one.
And I want to get, Lotus deserves some credit because she is fighting for all of the children.
Oh my God.
Her writs are for all of the children to stop this corruption. And she's literally, folks, she's a one-woman army. I mean, literally. Uh-oh.
Well, I have all the servants of God. I mean, so I don't know. I'm a one. I have my own yoke. I mean, no one can share my yoke, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's just, and you have these poor. I mean, I kind of say they are really the meek. I mean, this aunt is the meek, and that will inherit the earth kind of thing, because she's just this God-fearing, sweet woman who provides these safe houses. I mean, this family, you have to understand, just the kin of Rachel and Clay is over 2,000 people in this town. Now, you're going to tell me out of 2,000 people in this county, they couldn't find one family member to take this child? Oh, wait, by the way, they already had an aunt that was pre-qualified, and they didn't give them to her, right? So her family is huge. Okay, this is a family that has lived in this county for generations. Her kin extended thousands. The kith means the friends of the family are into the tens of thousands. Okay, these people are targeted, and they are one of the oldest families in the region, and they are being targeted by open corruption and racketeering to traffic in babies, because clearly they didn't care about the safety of the baby and the mother, because they never arrested the guy when he was violating the custody order, violating the stay-away order. So they don't care about the safety of the children. If they did, they would have arrested him 14 months ago, when the first time he stepped on the property, right? He'd already be in prison for violating. No. They've let him off scot-free and are charging the mother and taking the children. You see the pattern here, people?
Yeah, and these are systemic issues across the nation, worldwide.
It's systemic because these people have been left to literally create corrupt institutions of RICO. And the whole construct of the bar union is merely a gaming instrument. It games the American people for bonds and money and the prison industrial complex. I promise you, and mind you, I have told the administrative courts in D.C., I want the CUSIP numbers. Oh, and I want to know how you're funded, and I want your last audit that you provided to Congress. That's public record. They had 10 days to answer that. They haven't. You know why? Because I have a feeling that they are funded by the selling of all their bonds. We're not funding them. They're self-funded. So these people have a whole judiciary that is funded and propagated by all the bonds that they are unlawfully and illegally putting upon the American people in all these fraudulent cases where there are no crimes and there are no victims. So they are gaming. The judiciary of the United States is a racketeering and gaming instrument of private banks.
And that's what I'm going to tell you. And the coup that we're currently seeing is the bar.
They're
trying to, in a roundabout way, they're trying to bring in, so that they can legalize all of this racketeering. Right, they want to bring in Sharia law so they can justify.
Right. Yeah. Because then they think that their retroactive crimes can be voided under law.
They'll all be voided. Right. They won't be held accountable. And
exactly.
Yeah, and Sharia law, folks. Sharia law is open slavery, Babylonian slave trade. That's what it. Yeah.
It is open war against woman and child. That's what Sharia law is. And Sharia banking is banking which uses the merchandising of our babies from the moment of their inception to puppet up and to fund a false prophet state of criminals, baby traffickers, and Satan worshipers. I mean, and this woman I spoke to, she's such a Christian, and yet she reads the Bible, but I see the law in the Bible. I see the law of Yeshua. I see the law that's there, that was put for us. Because to me, the Bible is a law book. That's what I was taught, is that the Bible is a law book. That's why, and when you go to court, this is something people don't understand, court. When you go to these forums and you're said, oh, you have to stand because the man with the black robe just walked in the door. People didn't used to stand for the black robe. They stood for the Bible that the black robed man was carrying. You didn't stand for the man in the position, the seat. You stood for the law, just like when you're in church and you speak the word. Real Christians stand up when the word is spoken. They stand up when law is spoken from the Bible. That's a true Christian tenet. So this thing, when you see, that's one of the things they do now. You go into, in fact, remember I told you, the last time I went to one of their courts, I got kicked out for not standing, and I said, I'm a Christian. I don't stand for false prophets. They literally violated my right.
Yeah.
No, I mean, seriously, she kicked me out.
It's not funny.
I said, I'm sorry.
Laugh. I don't know why I laughed. What?
Right. I said, I had no you're carrying the Bible. And I literally got kicked out as a Christian who refused, or I was threatened with arrest if I didn't stand for a false prophet. Swear to God. Swear. My God is my witness. That is what these courts are in.
I think what it is if I don't find him, it's so abhorrent. It's so egregious. It's such a human rights violation that if I don't laugh, like you said, I'm gonna cry.
You have a state. Well, and it's really hard for good Christian people who have been raised to believe that their state is embodying their faith and is doing the will of our teachings of spirituality in America, which is we all are equal. It doesn't matter your religion. Because, I sat there and had this conversation with my mom. The law never needs to be changed. It's always been against the law to treat others with iniquity. That's the foundation of our Constitution. That's the foundation of the law that governs our land and our country. It has always been against the law.
Well, and that's why they're railing against the whole concept of the United States so forcefully.
or the Confederation
I mean,
state.
all of these Antifa, all of these are just agents of the state
they're against
affecting
the law.
coup.
Right. The southern states in the Civil War, if you read, I actually put on my Facebook page the declaration by North Carolina why they ceded. And it's because the federal instrument was violating the Constitution. So the Southern Confederation of the South weren't fighting for slavery. They were fighting against the corruptions of the federal government who had stolen their land trusts. People don't understand. This has always been a march to try to undermine the law of the Republic mind, which is where all men are equal. Because when all men are equal, you can't enslave them with Sharia law and Babylonian slave trade at birth. You can't traffic in humans when they're equitable under God.
No, but if you erase that history and new generations don't know, then they can
torn it. Yeah, they can twist them. They can lead them astray. And so here I am dealing with this very religious woman who goes to church. I mean, she's very active in her church. She's a very God-fearing woman. And it's hard for her to wrap her mind around what, and she knows it, but it's so hard for her to see the paradigm as evil and Satan worshiping. And that what people understand is you have a state of men who are going against the will of God, Goddess. A child is born into your family by the will of God. God put that child there. Now, I'm not saying God willed that child to be beat, murdered, raped, or whatever, if born to that family. However, states of men don't get to walk into those creations of God, the family, for no reason that isn't within the reasons that the feds say, because the child's life must be in immediate harm's way. To wake a child up at 3 a.m. and take them into custody of the state when there is no immediate harm. It's not like the children aren't going to be there in the morning.
And no imminent danger.
No imminent danger. It is not allowed for the state to interfere with that God-made paradigm when the children are not being threatened immediately. Okay?
Hence why the judge recused himself off of the case.
Oh, he recused himself because he is smart. He is not stupid, and he knows that he's going to be called as a witness on our side, okay? And he also understands now that he has a rogue police force who is not listening to his orders. They're listening to somebody else's orders. Because the acting now that I don't even know if the man she talked to a year and a half ago.
And this is the mess that our president is dealing with. And why he's being targeted so hard by this rogue instrument of our state, which is actively trying to coup and take over America and get rid of our Constitution.
Right, so they can traffic our babies and make us vassals of the land like they did. The Pope, but you're dealing with a bunch of people who are elitists. They're psychopaths. They have been guiding the world with their illegal Babylonian slave trading Satanism for over 2,000 years now. Since before Christ. This is what Christ railed against. This is what our advocate in Yeshua went and said, you are not my kingdom. You are not my kings. This is what, he was an anarchist fighting the prevailing slave state is what Yeshua is to me. Okay? He's a great man. I don't even care about the God. He was a great man. Behold the man. A man who railed against corruption, who were oppressing the people, enslaving the people, that he was being charged with healing a woman on the Sabbath, which was a crime by the states of men. God gave him an ability to heal the blind. He healed someone on an arbitrary day that states of men told them he could not effect miracles on. Do you understand that? That's what Christ was persecuted and crucified for committing a miracle of God on a day that the Pharisees said he couldn't work, even for God. Okay? That's the law we're looking at here.
And what they've done is they've twisted the young minds to reprogram them to think that they're railing against the corruption, to think that they are the anarchists, when in fact it is actually the absolute opposite of what is being programmed into this younger generation.
Well, but it's not even that. It's so obvious because they're even using the same flags as fascist agenda from the 1950s. I mean, the only people that are buying into this delusion, because these children are deluded. They're not just miseducated. They are emotionally, psychotically, and spiritually delusional. You can sit and watch the videos of these kids say, this is the hate-free zone, but if you don't agree with this, we will kill you. That has come out of the same, like the mouth of a woman in one sentence.
Well, no, and then you have these Black Lives Matter BLM saying, well, a person is more relevant because of the color of their skin, not because of the character.
Wow.
And they're yes, I'm kidding you not. It is so divisive. It is so divisive that we don't. They're saying no. Let me finish. They are literally on the news saying, the fake news, have you, that people should not be judged by their character as an individual. They should be divided on the basis and the premise of the color of their skin, whether it's brown, black, yellow.
Let's move that argument to the next higher level. Who was the last group of people to say that this group of people are more important than that class of people in the state of things? That was the Nazis. Okay? This is the same democratic socialist agenda that the Bolsheviks and the fascist Nazis, the Ashkenazi Jews who were running Germany in the banks for the Pope, the same argument that they put forth. Zionism. Oh, now, so in Israel, the fake Jews,
and
the Zionists
I have to point something out, and I have to interject, and I'm so sorry, but I want to be specific about this, because when we bring up the topic of Jews, we're not talking about the real Jews. We're talking about
the fake Jews.
Yes. Okay. And they're not all Jews. When we say that they're all Jews, we do ourselves a disservice, because they're bankers. They're psychotic, psychopathic.
Okay. It's not about whether you're Jew or Christian, white or black, Mason or not.
No,
it's about the act of the individual in the instrument, and it's the act of the man or the woman. They are hiding in all colors and in all religions, because that's what the devil does.
Exactly,
okay?
Exactly. And that's what we have to emphasize, because I hate to quote St. John, you will know them by their deeds. Exactly. Okay? Exactly.
So
Thank you.
In this case, you actually have an attorney who is the magistrate, the municipal administrator of the city, the municipality, who issued a stay-away order that was never enforced, and he knows that this aunt was unlawfully targeted and claimed to be a drug house, though the previous chief of police said, we have no proof of this, you're not under investigation, we don't even have any complaints of this. He knows that this is all pedophagy and lies and fraud and corruption, and he's the only smart one. He's actually he's a smart guy, even if he's not good, because he's saving his own butt. This guy, by his mere act of recusing himself, has already thrown disfavor to the instruments of state that took the actions against his family. When the municipal judge recuses himself, you have a problem, don't you think?
Yeah, and I really want to touch on this, because I see this a lot online, where they really say, oh, it's the Jews. So that's a very general statement, and I want to talk about something, and I want people to research. Hold on. I want people to research the Jacobins and how they all are Satanists, basically, or they infiltrate Christianity, Mormonism.
In my line of
cultural societies, they infiltrate all walks of life, and they wear it like a mask, or like a suit, or like a Halloween costume, quite literally. Yep. Okay, so when we talk about we're not, and when this is the reason why we never ever really get rid of these people, because we don't remember our history. the Jacobins, the Democratic Party back in during the French Revolution.
They, in the positions of propaganda control, say, "Hey, go yell at the blacks. Now go yell at the Jews. Now go yell at the white Christians. Now go." They sit and tell and direct us who to go yell at, when we should be yelling at the people doing the finger pointing, because those are the masters of the corruption.
We have to. This is why. What I'm saying is, we do ourselves a disservice when we start saying, when we generalize, because if you look at this guy that was just killed, who he whistleblew about the banking system and how he didn't want to participate in these rituals, quite literally killing babies. He was found dead last week, face down in a marsh in Florida.
Lost in a marsh.
Yeah, he went public and he whistleblew, and so. And then he was not Jewish, okay? He was not a Jewish man. I think he was Swedish. So what I'm trying to say, and I want to make a point here, is when we generalize about these people, we're doing ourselves a disservice, and we're never going to get to the heart of the issue. And
I don't think I was generalizing. I think I called it out. Ashkenazi Jews. The Nazi. That's where the term Nazi comes from, people. Ashkenazi Jews, which are fake Jews that are from the Caucasus, by the way. They are white people pretending to be Jews, okay, that infiltrated the Yudin, the true Yudin, at the time of Yeshua. Jesus pointed out the false Jews in the Bible. He's saying those Pharisees are false Jews. He points to them. The Christians now are best friends. The Christians of this country are allowing our government, who is supposed to be based on the faith of Yeshua and Christianity. I don't care what people say. We are a Christian-based nation. Our law is based in the fundamental law of Yeshua, established in the Bible. That is what our law is. That's the fourth ground of law. He was our advocate. He points out these are the fake children of Israel, and we allow our puppet government to give $7 million plus a day to the fake sons of Israel that Yeshua said were false. Now, this is the problem we have in our country when Christians are being blinded by their own teachings. They aren't even looking at the reality that their own advocate and Savior said, those people that your government now gives $7 million a day to are the false Jews that, in the same vein, were responsible for the hanging of our advocate from a tree in collusion with Rome.
I also want to point out, though, there was a story. There was a story, Lotus, about a young man who was arrested. He was a Jewish young man, and I want people to Google this. Jewish man arrested for bombing his own, their own places of worship, their own Jewish temples. So they do it within themselves as well. Like they're terrorizing within themselves as well. So
anybody who has not read the Jesuit oath, you need to go read it, because that's what these people are. A Jesuit is someone who affirms their oath to the Pope as the king of the world. That's what the Jesuit oath tells you. They're not affirming their oath to Jesus or even to the teachings of the orthodoxy of Jesus. They are affirming that the Pope is their God on this earth, as in Lucifer. And within that oath, they talk about all the things that they will do in order to ensure that the whole of the world surrenders to their King of Kings on earth. And that includes the infiltration of all systems of society and state, allowing them to lie, to even take upon the activities of the idolaters and the falseness of those who will not follow their king, not Jesus, the Pope. So you have an antichrist versus the real Christ. The Vatican and the Pope are the antichrist that the Jesuits send an oath to, where they will hide amongst all of us in all the systems of state and affect crimes beat babies' heads up against walls, murder and rape women, and do all these horrible things. This is written in their oath that they say they will do these things with all these saints as their witness in order to ensure that the Pope is seen as the king of the world and the vicar of Christ, so that he can represent what the real Christ said. This is our world, people. This is our world. We are infiltrated with satanic Jesuit followers of a false,
and
demonic...
Even the so-called... Lotus, even like the so-called mafia is against the Pope, protecting or forgiving these pedophiles. Because, I mean, even the mafias, they believe in family.
He has to forgive them. That's what he is. That's what these people are. Their whole look, you have to understand, the reason why we have a system of law that merchandises children is because the people who brought that system of law merchandise children. So it's called the fruit of a poison, the poison fruit of a tree. If you have created a system of law that is founded upon the ability to rationalize in states of men how you can traffic babies and make them things, so that you can have sex with them, bleed them, hunt them, eat them, and use them as a commodity for your own personal lucre. This is the foundation of their law.
My point is this. Okay? Collectively, everybody can agree that this is not the monetary system that we want. We want, and that's why everybody elected Trump, because we do not want open slavery. We do not want our children being trafficked. We do not want this.
Right. Well, the funny thing is, as I said earlier, it's always been against the law to treat other men with iniquity. It was against the law of the founding of our country that white men or black men could hold other men as slaves. Because, mind you, historically speaking, more black men as Moors and Islamists that went and enslaved Africa held slaves in our country originally than white men. White men held a minority of slaves. Black men held the most slaves when this country started introducing slavery, because the people who brought it in here were the Islamics that had gone and enslaved Africa and had aided the Jews and the Pope to traffic in humans.
I think there's like a mentality of pimping, enslaving, and there is a whole methodology behind, if you will, traumatizing and isolating and targeting the victims.
That's in the Bible. Okay, this is how you know there's a false God and a real God in the Bible, and that really offends Christians when I point this out, and I don't care. My God, the true God, does not promote the enslavement of people and children. When they talk about Moses wandering, the desert for however many years, he goes about and makes war against other people who will not give them land or let them traverse their land without conflict, okay? So the right to move freely, right? So, but still, his God, and I could give you a variety of examples to show you that this is actually a false God that he's listening to at this time. So the 10 Commandments are the statutes of the false God, really. He's saying, when you get done killing these people, you need to slay all the men that are left and the babies, and take the leftover women and babies and divide them as spoils of war. That's in the Bible when the false God speaks. Now, my God does not, that Yeshua affirmed, said that stealing children and denying children their innocence, which tends to happen when you enslave them after you've killed their parents, is a crime punishable by death. Okay? You throw them into the sea with a millstone. In Moses' God that he was following as he wandered, and he was wandering because he was lost from the true God. That's why they wandered. His God said you can enslave women and children after you kill all their men. Now, that's not what my God said. So you have a Bible with both pillars of law in it. The statutory constructs of men and the false prophets, the false gods, the little Elohims of men who, in systems of corruption and state, oppress Satanism and war against women and children, and they hide behind the masks of this instrument of a godless state. And then you have the state of grace of God. It's just like I tell people, The state Ohio is the land that God made. The state of Ohio is a fiction of men that is a corporate nothingness, a false prophet of a godless state of men.
I just found out what Corpus Christi stands for.
What?
It stands for the body of Christ. That's what it means. It literally translates.
Just like the Puerto Rico is the port of RICO, of racketeering.
Oh no, we're losing you a little bit. Lotus?
Illegal.
Lotus, we're starting to cut out.
Yes?
I'm losing you. I have to actually wrap up.
Is that better?
No, it's like in and out. I think I actually have to wrap it up soon, so
well, I wanted to tell you all that, we have, people need to be paying attention to the actual facts and be more base in their comprehension of things. And you have to realize that there are people, literally, that are not, that are potentially not operating in a spiritually righteous fashion in all walks of life and all colors and all creeds and all religions and all positions, okay? A lot of the people in power that are running our world are predominantly not of us. They believe that it's okay to merchandise, traffic, bloodlet, kill, molest, sacrifice babies. That's part of their lifestyle, okay? This is a truth of our world, and people need to at least attempt to wrap their head around it, because until they do, they are not going to be able to protect themselves. It's not we have been so indoctrinated to look at the flesh, and true Christendom tells you
a lot of these religions, I just want to point this out, a lot of these religions have been infiltrated, and the main point is programming you to accept some of these doctrines. It's like a soft form of Sharia law.
Right, my friend of mine would call that a velvet trap, in a lot of ways. But that's what the Bible, if you're a true Christian, tells you how the devil works. The devil gets you in the Faustian pact.
But that's what they pervert. Some of these religions are perverting the Bible.
Of course, they've always perverted the Bible. They killed the prophet so they could pervert his word. That's the whole foundations of the Roman Catholic Empire, which is Rome. Okay,
yeah.
The Roman Catholic Church is Rome. It just changed its mask, its color, its garb. They still even wear white togas. They're wearing the fish hats of the Babylonians. The Pope is wearing a Babylonian fish hat. He is a Babylonian. He is a Babylonian as the head banker of Babylonian slave trade. These are the people that Jesus, as a man and a rebel, as an anarchist, rebelled against their unlawful, sinful natures of state. That is what he did. He went before them and said, "You are not our gods. You are not our judge." That established our crown of law.
Amen.
Act.
I have to wrap it up because it's going to be the end of the hour, and oh my gosh, Lotus, it's always, I love Lunch with Lotus every Saturdays, and I am so lucky to have you on the show, and I love being your friend. Oh my gosh, you made me laugh so hard last night. Anyway.
Well, and it wasn't even funny. It's just that God gave us that
gift. It was a gift.
So, because here's why. It gets to the point that anyone of any common sense or reason looks at it and goes, what are these people thinking? It's so obvious that they are criminals. And yet we are faced with a system of state that is so full of these delusional psychopaths. They are criminally insane.
But you know what? It's written. We win.
No, it is written. And we already did. It's written by the word of God. We win.
Right. We win. So
we've had that conversation. We've had that conversation. If you win, if the evil didn't win, we wouldn't be having this conversation. So therefore, we already know we win because we wouldn't be having it.
No, and they're literally going nuts. They're going crazy. I mean,
I'm going to leave this one thought about Trump, if anyone knows, I'm not a history professor, I'm not a POTUS historian, but I'm pretty sure that this is the first POTUS where we have a retired general of the military as his chief of staff. Now and I also believe that this is probably the first time where we have a POTUS where, because of the infiltration and the bug sitting in the White House, is now running our federal government out of one of his own property. Okay, you have to think about that, people. We are now in a state of coup where the president, the duly elected, okay, selected, regardless, he won by their system that we've always run by. They want to cry foul now that their guy didn't win. But he was elected duly by the people, and he can't be in the White House because the military has deemed that the actual house, the White House, has been corrupted by a coup, and it is not safe for him to stay in it or for them to have conversations about sensitive equipment or materials or things going on in the government, because we have a coup operating in D.C. He has been removed from that house and now is running our government in his hotel. In his hotel, people. And you want to badmouth this man. I don't even know the guy. I've never met him. If I ever meet him, I'm going to congratulate him on just being at least upstanding statesman. He is a true American. He is allowing our government that is in open coup to operate in his own property because it is unsafe, deemed unsafe by our military for him to be in the house that we built.
And they want to complain. They literally want to complain because of the expense of the security, because he's not living in the White House. And
they should complain at the deep state who allowed bugs to be embedded in the walls of the White House so that we don't have a secure place for our POTUS to do business. Do you understand? They're taking everything that is an obvious crime being affected against the American people and trying to spin it so that it isn't an obvious crime. There is criminality openly being exposed to the American people by the fact that the military has told the POTUS he is not safe in the White House. He is in his own hotel running the government of the American people and our trading company, the United States Corporation. He is doing our business.
And he's historically remodeling the White House. Why?
But he's remodeling it because it was deemed corrupted and compromised.
Yeah.
Okay? The military came in in an emergency order. The military evacuated the White House for security threats, and they have not been allowed to go back in under their orders. The military is protecting our president from a coup of previous administrations and operations still operating within the District of Criminals that have made the White House unsafe for occupancy. That is the state of our world right now.
Well, it has been enlightening, and it is the end of the hour. I thank you so much, Lotus. We always are so grateful for the work that you do on behalf of the children. And thank you for coming on the Porthole to Justice, the window to the truth. This has been an off-the-cuff episode with Lotus Justice. She is on YouTube. She has a show on YouTube that you can check out called Lunch with Lotus. And she talks about these... Uh-oh. Yeah, I think we're...
But yeah, do my playlist of Pedophagy Paradox and the Fourth Ground Law stuff that really help you what's going on.
Yeah, we're cutting out really bad at this point. Anyways, everybody,
Okay.
Yeah, you can subscribe to the Porthole to Justice on Spreaker.com. I am on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And please share the content that we have in the Porthole to Justice. And you can keep up to date on all of this stuff in the Social Media News Network, where we combine all of this information in regards to the coup and the corruption. And get in the right fight. All right, everybody, have a great rest of the weekend. And this is your host signing off, Amelia Duran.